just inspirational? Was that just me? It reminds us, I feel it reminds us of one's purpose in the legal field. Now we're moving along quite nicely in today's 12-hour program. And while you go grab a quick pick me up, don't look away for too long, as we now like to show you Litera's drafting solutions. And definitely stay with me for a fabulous futuristic journey right after. I don't want to go on this journey alone. I'd love to have a partner come along for the ride, so don't go anywhere.
Everybody, thanks for joining us on the Changing Lawyer Live Virtual Summit. I'm one of your two hosts today, Matt Miller. I'm the VP of Product Management for our drafting business unit, joined by Matt James, who's our VP of our go-to-market. This session, again, is brought to you by the drafting business unit. I'm going to hand it over to Matt to get things started.
Great, thanks, Matt. So keeping continuity across the summit, we want to focus on three areas. First being why we exist. That is to help people focus on what matters. And what we mean by that is exactly what we say. That can be literal matters as it pertains to legal work product, but it can also be focused on priorities and goals of the day-to-day. It can even be work-life balance. So in order to do that, what we do is focus on our customers' client retention, so your customers, improving the law firm margins, which you'll tend to hear us speak to in regards to realization rates or potentially reducing write-offs and write-downs. So that's where we can introduce efficiency and enhancing end user happiness. So I've already kind of spoke to the work-life balance in the first piece here. But again, we recognize how demanding the day-to-day is. We understand how challenging it has been to leverage technology in the legal space for decades as it pertains to someone's workflow. And we are absolutely focused on making sure that technology does impact that end user happiness. And then in the way that we do that is delivering innovation through technology that simplifies the connection of data and everyday workflows. As you will see, we are about helping the seamless migration of data across all of our business units. And as it pertains to drafting in particular, we are always helping individuals find the path of least resistance. And if we can empower them with technology, we're doing our job. So for us, there's three main market challenges that we come across, and we can't have a customer-based meeting without discussing those. First is technology adoption. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the concept of shelfware. You're either dealing with the fact that you've acquired technology that no one's using, or you're fearful of the fact that you're going to bring in technology that's not being leveraged. So we are always making sure that the technology that we provide has the end user in mind. Again, I have spoken to the fact that we're looking for the path of least resistance. We're looking to ensure that technology complements individuals, but we recognize that a return on investment is a very important and critical piece to the investment in technology. From an IT capacity perspective, we hear that we are constantly in maintenance cycles. There's continuous updates from Microsoft, from our document management provider, from a variety of technology vendors that we leverage. And it is difficult for us to innovate. It is difficult for us to bring technology to our lawyers to make their jobs easier, because we are stuck keeping the lights on and frankly, hanging out inside of the plumbing. So as you'll see here, as we get forward, we're always considering the way that we can reduce the overhead of our technology. And then losing valuable time does play into that efficiency bucket, but we recognize that there are a lot of manual and redundant tasks that are happening day in and day out. One of those can be looking for actual legal substance, the starting point when it comes to drafting, or maybe a particular set of language that has been suggested by a colleague. The actual logistics of getting to that, where it lives and leveraging it and utilizing it is stuff that cannot be billed for. It is time that is spent digging through technology and trying to uncover what someone is searching for. And we recognize that that is a burden in the day-to-day and a hurdle of leveraging technology.
All right, so Matt covered some of the challenges. Now we'll talk about how Litera, specifically the drafting business unit, helps with some of those challenges. The first one here on maintaining focus on clients. Matt mentioned the legal substance. That's really why our clients are hiring us. So how can we make our lawyers more efficient, with that particular process. We know that people are busier than ever, or the demands on our users are higher than ever. And really what we're trying to capture here is lawyer-focused user experience. And that user experience isn't just the software, but really all things Litera. How can we enhance that efficiency for that lawyer while they're working with their client so they can spend more time directly with that particular client? Accessing everything in one place. You'll see this as the business units, as you hear from more of the business units throughout these commercial breaks, but more and more data is becoming a centralized point that brings all the business units together, as well as within the drafting product line. We're looking to bring the drafting experience together. We want a unified drafting experience. We'll talk a little bit about the progress we've made on that, but also data will be a bigger and bigger focus. Some of the other business units have data that is very valuable to us. Obviously, we're already tapping into data from some of your core systems as part of our workflows. And then complementing the workflow. When we talk to law firms out there, they're managing upwards of 400 applications at the desktop level. Obviously, it's very challenging for users of these applications to know what to use, when to use it. How we look at technology is it should be an augmentation or an enhancement to current workflows that your lawyers are already doing. Again, making them more efficient.
So let's take a moment to talk about where we are today. As we advance here on forward slide, this is the breakup of Litera as we live today. We have spoken to these as business units, or as we talk about the seamless flow of data. These are the 4 areas that we're focusing on. Matt and I are representing that orange square today. So we're Team Orange representing drafting. You'll constantly hear us refer to our technology offering as something that is first draft to final delivery, and really a seamless offering that is always looking to bring that document to its end state and advance it along the way. As we think about our drafting business unit, much like the other units, you'll see we have an emblem. And this emblem is really meant to represent our technology, but in the eyes of the end user. So on the emblem itself, you will not see product names, but you'll see more of the function that we're looking to solve for. And as we think about that seamless experience, we break it into these different pillars or wedges, if you will, of create, check, collaborate, and our newest publish. So in the create space, for us, it's all about getting to that first draft as quickly as possible, but also producing it at the highest quality. So we've already talked about being able to find language, being able to find starting points, being able to leverage what lives inside of the head of lawyers, which often is that deal recall. I know I've worked on something in the past. This is a great starting point. We should leverage it. Quickly getting people to that language and then allowing them to grow it and advance it is the focus of the create space. In the check space, it's all about making sure that the technical and legal structure is appropriate, right? This is making sure that outlining in the document, the brand of the firm exists, as well as the accuracy of the content itself. It is speaking to the appropriate areas of the document, potentially speaking to market language. All of those pieces need to be connected in order to ensure that we're gonna produce the best result, which is representing our client and hopefully a favorable outcome. In the collaborate space, this is really the cornerstone of the drafting technology. I would assume many of you are very familiar with our comparison elements or the ability to clean metadata. We also offer the ability to have a file share, so securely transferring work product, whether that is internal or external, to clients, to courts, you name it. This is a seamless experience that ensures that the collaborative effort, primarily outside of the firm, is addressed accordingly. And then publish, which is the newest wedge to this emblem, does come as a result of the DocsCorp acquisition. We are really excited about it. As I look back on our full portfolio, DocsCorp actually probably is going to be contributing close to the most amount of products as it pertains to this full drafting space here. And we're really excited about the ability to provide redaction, binder and Bible creation, so bundling work product, and making sure that everything that lives inside of the DMS is searchable, so that we can OCR that. And then again, you'll see how that really fits into this circular emblem by nature, which is that if we can search for pre-existing work product and language, we'll be able to leverage that at the create space for that first draft.
Great. So Matt walked us through the wedges there: create, check, collaborate, and publish, kind of at a higher level. Now we'll kind of cover what we've done over the last 12 months across these different pillars that make up the drafting business unit. One piece we were heavily focused on was MSI consolidation. So those installers that you get as part of owning software from the drafting business unit. We know when we go back to some of the challenges Matt outlined, IT overhead or burdensome on IT is challenging. Those teams have a lot to do. Where can we help reduce that friction from Litera? Bringing together more and more of our installers to be able to be managed from an installation perspective was a core focus for us. One of the things that also benefits us is a increased user experience as well as workflow within the applications. That kind of hits on the final bullet point here, which I'll get to in a second. But there were multiple benefits from that installer consolidation that we worked hard on here in 2021. Quality of releases, people are become very dependent on our compare and cleaning applications, just to name two. They have to work at all moments of the day, at all hours of the night. So we focused very heavily on making sure that the products that were coming out from us were of the highest quality, that when your users needed them to work, they were working. And hopefully you felt, if you hadn't felt that previously, that you weren't hearing from your users about these applications. That's a good thing. They should be letting us, hopefully Litera, know that they're working well for them, but IT shouldn't really be hearing from these folks because everything is working as it should. Web readiness is a big focus for us in 2021 and will continue to be a massive focus for us in 2022. This is taking the historical architecture for these drafting applications with our local processing applications off the desktop and extending them more into an architecture that is web services with APIs. Now that will still allow, Litera will still always allow for flexibility of deployment. We will offer, you'll see us offering hosted options, but we'll also be providing those web services in the form of containers for you to deploy in your own private cloud or on-premise, on your on-premise servers. These web readiness also allows us to do a lot of other interesting things, like lend our business logic out to the other business units, or us receive and consume some of that web readiness from the other business units, and creating a larger Litera story there. Lastly, Litera check, and I mentioned it as part of the MSI consolidation piece, but this is the bringing together that lawyer-focused user experience. So users don't want to have to know that I should go to this application for proofreading and then over here for repairing and so on and so on. Just bring a seamless user experience and workflow together as part of that drafting experience. We've made good progress on that single consolidated drafting experience with the release of Litera Check. Looking at where we're going over the next 12 months, Litera Create is something we've been hard at work for now for over the past year. It will be heavily modernized from a user interface perspective. So we wanted to maximize usage and adoption of our Create applications. We're consolidating both our Create and content applications into a Create platform from Litera. So cutting down on that IT or MSI consolidation. We've also increased the workflow capacity between the applications and then modernized the backend architecture to be web services. Not yet hosted from Litera, but soon you'll probably see something like that from us. Litera Review is an extension of our comparison story. Comparison is the most used application in number of seats, as well as just usage within our application suite. More and more, we're being asked to solve additional comparison workflows. Litera Review is a great example of that. I will not give too much away there, but Matt's going to do a demonstration here in a moment of what its capabilities are. That will be a new product for us being released in our Q4 release of this year. User experience has been a focus. It will be a greater focus for us moving into 2022. we'll be working with you folks listening in on this commercial break, hopefully listening in on this commercial break in 2022 to better understand that holistic drafting experience and really bringing together all of our drafting applications into a unified experience. And then more and more, I mentioned data. Data is something everybody's interested in. We've got a lot of valuable data in our document management systems and within the other Litera platforms as well. How can we centralize all that and bring intelligence and insights to you while you're drafting while you're drafting documents or within any of the core workflows that you are using Litera products for?
Great. So we will momentarily here jump into a product demo. We chose Litera Review for this demonstration. Once again, just as a reminder from what Matt had mentioned, Litera Review is a new to market product that will be available here at year's end. While it does coincide with many of the comparison type of workflows, we see this much more as a collaborative offering. So in the mindset and the theme of the individual who holds the pen, the one who is responsible for consolidating a variety of different comments and changes to document iterations and is responsible for making sure that that is the version going forward. They will have a seamless way of doing so, picking and choosing the appropriate language for that product going forward. So we'll jump in here right now.
Okay, here we have on the right side of the screen the Litera Review application. And on the left side of the screen, I have a local folder with 4 iterations of a document. I will drag and drop those into the review box. As they populate, you'll notice an original document as well as many revised versions. Through drag and drop, you can reorganize. You can see the modified party as well as date. Once the original has been identified, you can click Review. The application will now combine those documents into a task pane on the right-hand side, while also opening the output file on the left-hand side, which is going to exhibit any of the exceptions or rejections that we make as we step through the application. You'll see on the right-hand side, there is a timeline of where those conflicts or collaborative markings are. By using the navigation on the right-hand side, we can navigate to a variety of different locations in which there are suggestions for language or comments. As we navigate to the 4th instance, we'll see that all 3 parties had suggested different language. We can determine which is most appropriate and click Accept. As we accept one of those changes, we'll see the other 2 are locked out. And on the left-hand side, an edited box will show the change that has been selected for the next iteration. So this will allow an individual, again, who is holding the pen or responsible for consolidating all of the collaborative efforts into a single version, to navigate those, step through them accordingly on the right-hand side of the screen, make those exceptions and rejections, and see those appear on the left side, where this document can then be saved off as the next iteration.